Hey guys, it's Britt, and I guess you would call this a spur of the moment discussion video. Ignore my walker in the background. I have no place to put it, and I need to be able to, grab it to move around. So just excuse that. But anyway, yeah. I wanted to talk about how over the years that I have been on Booktube, I think I've almost been on Booktube 4 years now, which is very hard to believe. But my reading has gone so up and down, and the things that I have read have for one widened. Like the way that I have read has expanded, no doubt, but it has also changed how I think about reading, how I think about books, and even over time, this has changed. Um, I go back and forth on my opinions about reading, which I think is a normal human emotion to feel. But mostly, and I'm in this where I am right now in my reading is I stopped caring about the technical literary merit of these books, or if the book was technically well written or not, or how that affects my opinion. I've gone back and forth on this idea over the years, and um I it depends on the thing that I'm reading. Mostly when I turn to um like a genre like horror, um I judge it on if I if something about it scared me, and if it did its job or made me feel uneasy, or if I go to this statement might get me into a bit of hot water, but wouldn't be Brit's YouTube channel if she didn't get herself into hot water a little bit. So if I go to YA, a good majority of YA is not technically, on a technical level, well written. And I say this as a writer myself. I'm aware of the faults in YA, and I'm aware of the faults in these stories that I have fallen in love with. For example, we all know that I love The Raven Cycle by Maggie Stiefvater unapologetically. Is Maggie Stiefvater a good writer? In my opinion, I think she's a lovely writer. I love her prose. I adore her prose. But does she do things that writers would, on a technical level, deem wrong? Absolutely. She uses adverbs frequently. She writes sentences that tend to be long-winded. She repeats herself a lot. And you might be wondering, why bring this up? Well, that's because a new Twilight book is coming out. And yes, I have pre-ordered it. Yes, that I've pre-ordered the Edward book. Yeah, and I'm gonna read it, and I'm gonna have a great time. Is it going to be good? Technically well written? Uh, who knows? It could take us all by surprise. I mean, this book was supposed to come out 10 years ago. Maybe Stephanie Meyer's editors have stepped up their game. Maybe they'll do things a bit more critically this time around. Maybe they won't let her repeat the same phrases over and over and over and over again. Or maybe they will just keep it as it was 10 years ago. I don't know, because I haven't read the book yet. But just because these books on a technical level are not up to some people's standards, does that make them bad books? I am of the opinion that the story is the most important part of the book, because it's called storytelling for a reason. You pick up a book and you are being told a story. And I think the average reader, which is the majority of Booktube, doesn't really care if a book technically works, or if it's of a certain quality, because readers don't tend to think, there's an adverb there. Wow, that's sloppy writing. It's really only usually the writers in the room that go, oh hey, there's an adverb there. That kind of breaks a writing rule. That's okay. I think that it's important to not so much focus on how well a story is written, but how it makes a person feel. For example, and there's a reason my my reading vlog for How to Be Famous stopped at part 4, and I chose not to continue on, not because I lost interest in the book, but because the last half of the book of How to Be Famous made me a very emotional mess, and I didn't want to post that online. And it made me an emotional mess in a good way, because, I mean, for one, I think it helps that at one time I was like Johanna, in a way where I was an 18-year-old girl at one point in time, and I wasn't a music journalist, but I went to school for film. And so a lot of Johanna's experiences in that book, while we didn't have technically the same experiences, I was able to relate to her on a personal level. And it got me very emotional, especially since her and John went on an American an American tour. And I mean, I make it no secret why I adore John Kite. um, but there's this one part in the book where um where John is doing a meet and greet, and these girls are getting very, very emotional about it. And Johanna, of course, is the book is told from her perspective. So she is watching these girls and John, like interact with them, and it's very nice. And I mean, I think, I mean, personal bias here, bias. Um, I not only related to Johanna in those moments, but I related to the girls. Um, even at 27 or 26 at the time, in November, when I went and I met Alfie in person, and um, I didn't realize how much I could relate to Johanna until that that last half of the book, when she becomes very, I mean, not just the last half of the book, and I'm sorry, this is becoming a rambly mess, but I'm trying not to get emotional. Um, this is why I didn't put the last vlog up, but I can say this. Let's put it here. Alfie is a wonderful man, inside and out, and he's very kind, genuinely, genuinely kind. And I don't know how much I can say here, but know that he's good. He's a good man. Theon, jokes aside, he's a very kind man. And I'm so grateful to be able to call him a friend. And I can't go into it a lot, but there were moments at the end of How to Be Famous where I just, it's very emotional. And yeah, but I don't think that a book has to technically be well written to be enjoyed, is the point. I'm currently reading Call Down the Hawk, which is a spin-off series of The Raven Cycle by Maggie Stiefvater. And of course, I love Maggie's writing style. I love her writing style, and I think subconsciously I mimic her writing style a little bit in my own work, or maybe I don't. I don't know. But I'm taking a writing class with her in June, and I call it a writing class. It's like a 5-hour lecture that got moved to online because of COVID-19, and I am very excited to tap into her mind and hear some of her methods, and I'm bursting at the seams. Some people might laugh at her writing or the way that she writes, but I find her prose so beautiful. And yeah, that's what are your thoughts? Basically, does a book have to technically be well written to be enjoyed? I don't think so, and I say that as a writer. So, anyway, guys, before I turn into even more of a rambling mess, I'll see you in the next video. Love you guys. Bye.